I have to say, so much has changed since I first started in the champagne industry in 2005. Think back to 2005 when we were starting our journey. I'm sure there were many of us starting our journeys at similar times where we were drinking the big brands, which was all that was available in Australia. Not a huge variety. We had Veuve Clicquot, we had Moet et Chandon, we had Mumm, we had Taittinger, Pommery. These are big brands. These are mass produced. They're producing millions of bottles a year. They have a very distinct house style, but we did not have the diversity of champagnes that we have today. And that is amazing. But I remember traversing over to the Champagne region, taking my first sabbatical and arriving in Champagne only to realize there are thousands of small artisanal champagne producers who make champagne with love, with passion, with precision, with enthusiasm, and with real craftsmanship. And that is my joy, and that's what I'm bringing to you this month. And for those of you that I haven't met before, nice to meet you. My name's Kyla. I'm your host of the Empress Champagne channel and of the Empress Champagne Club. Welcome to all of our new club members. It's so nice to have you on the champagne journey with us. You are going to have some amazing champagnes coming your way, including what we're bringing to you this month. We have two champagnes. We have Laherte Frères. Some of you may have experienced this champagne before. It's imported by a company called Bentham, who have a wonderful champagne portfolio. And many people will be hearing more and more about Champagne Carbon. Champagne Carbon, an exceptional champagne, a champagne that we chose with a room of sommeliers all tasting blind, and every single one of them loved the champagne because of the craftsmanship that goes into every bottle, and we're going to dissect that in this month. What an amazing lineup of champagne this month. The first cuvée that's coming to all of our lovers, all of our members, is a champagne house Laherte Frères, Frères meaning brothers. Aurélien Laherte is at the helm of the house. He's a young man. This is a house situated in a village called Chevaux, although they have vineyards located in the south of Épinay and also in the Vallée de la Marne. So we've got two quite distinct subsoils. We've got some chalky soils. This is where the Chardonnay is grown. It gives you that beautiful mineral tension and linearity. When we're planting Pinot Meunier, which is the predominance in this particular cuvée, in the Ultra Tradition, we're planting on a clay. This green clay, we get more breadth, we get more interesting depth out of the wine. It's a totally different subsoil. But the reason that I love this house is the attention to detail. The attention to detail starts in the vineyard. So much care is taken. We've got biodynamic practices. So we're working towards a greater holistic being of the vineyard and the lunar calendar. We're also using organic practices, so abstaining from the use of any chemicals, any fertilizers, anything that's unnatural, anything that's harsh within the vineyard. But we're also thinking about sustainability. We're using horses in the vineyard to lighten the impact of the earth. So we're not just thinking about what are we putting into the vineyards, what are we putting into the vine. We're thinking about the environment, we're thinking about sustainability, and that is a real attention to detail that is reflected within each of the cuvées of the house. We are talking about a house with real precision and real passion. This transcends not just from the viticulture, but also into the winemaking. We've got numerous techniques being utilized simultaneously to give a certain element to each of their champagnes. The Ultra Tradition, we've got some base wines that are being aged in a foudre. A foudre is a large oak barrel. The larger the barrel, the smaller the ingress of oxygen. We have oak barrels, which are often from Burgundy, 2 to 228 litre barrels, smaller, so more access to oxygen, more access to the timber. We're also using stainless steel tanks. So the winemaker, Aurélien, is looking at the different grapes, he's looking at his different Vin Clair and looking at what vessel he's going to use to get the very best influence of each of those wines. Think about a chef. In all the ingredients that he's using, in all the spices that he's using, what are the techniques that he's going to use to create the perfect dish? That is what a craft producer is going to do. Think about all the elements to get the end result. He's utilizing partial malolactic fermentation. Not a sexy word. Malolactic fermentation, effectively taking that tart malic acid into a creamy lactic acid like you find in milk and dairy. Some of the wines going through malo, some of the wines being held back from malo, and all being blended into his final composition. The wine itself, the Ultra Tradition, this super cool label, this modern winemaking practices, it is 60% Pinot Meunier. So it's quite unusual to lead with such a high dominance of Meunier. I think it's beautiful. The fruit profile is stunning on this wine. We then have 30% Chardonnay, and we do have 10% Pinot Noir in the balance. The wine itself has layers and layers of complexity. You do have some beautiful crunchy orchard fruits. You do have some citrus elements and some real saline minerality coming through from the Chardonnay parcels, but you also have real presence and power and volume, some beautiful violet and some red fruit coming through from the Pinot Meunier. A very, very, very low level of dosage, so you've got a crisp, clean wine. It's almost a little perplexing. The nose is voluminous and generous and succulent and ample, and then you've got this clean, crisp, acid profile on the palate, which is very Moorish. So wonderful wine. You can tell the craftsmanship of this house, a bottle that I'd be happy to drink any day of the week. And if we're going to talk about new age champagnes, champagne houses doing things differently, bringing a modern approach, bringing an element of craftsmanship, then we have to talk about Champagne Carbon. I know we've featured Carbon before, but it's worthy of another feature. We're going a step up again. We're introducing the Carbon Rosé to all of our connoisseurs. Totally blown the budget this month. Thank you very much to the team in the warehouse who were championing for Carbon to feature again. It is an incredible champagne house. What I love about this house, let's put the bottle aside for one moment. Let's talk about the winemaking, because the winemaking itself has so many layers to it. Now, when we were first introduced to this house, naturally you think about the effort that they go to produce the bottle, which I'll get to, but really when I found out about the technique of the winemakers, I was really interested. These guys have the mix of modernity and tradition. So they're using oak barrels for all of the fermentation. So we're using a very traditional methodology. There's no stainless steel in the production of the wine, so very traditional classical winemaking. However, they are holding back the malolactic fermentation completely. Now, when you hold back malo, you retain that tight acidity. Retaining acidity retains that beautiful clean fruit profile, but you need to age the champagne for a longer period of time before the acidity, which is naturally present in Champagne because of the cool climate region that it is. So we need time to temper the acidity. We need the complexity to go up. Only time in the cellar with the lees, the yeast inside the bottle can do that. We've got some fabulous fruit. In this particular cuvee, the Rosé, we're leading with Chardonnay, 50% Chardonnay, 30% Pinot Meunier, the balance being Pinot Noir, with a nice healthy addition of red Pinot Noir added in as a red wine. This is a magical vineyard. I loved tasting the wines. When we first decided to bring in Carbon, it was a bit controversial because Emperor was all about biodynamic producers, organic producers, small artisanal producers, and we did a blind tasting of some of the best somms in Australia, and everybody categorically loved the wines, and that was a decision that we decided to import and champion Carbon in Australia. The wines are amazing, the wine techniques are amazing. Let's now talk about the bottle. Obviously, wrapped in carbon fiber, it's a 37-point process. It takes a couple of weeks to make each bottle. We are talking about the ultimate in craftsmanship, and what we've learnt recently, and I was in the vineyards of Carbon a couple of weeks ago, is that we're seeing that the bottles aged in the carbon fiber wrap and now aging better. They're preserving better because of the complete abstaining from any light. They've got this insulated layer around them, so protecting them from any fluctuation in temperature. And we really are getting the result of something very special. The guys are also looking at their carbon footprint. They are looking at sustainability. They are also keeping with tradition, but also innovating at the same time. This is what Champagne's all about. It's about craftsmanship, it's about innovation, it's about change, it's about producing a wine that is not following the standard course. It's about bringing individuality and personality into every bottle. Gone are the days where we're drinking homogenous, mass-produced champagne. Look, they have their place, don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with them. We start our journeys here, but then we move on, then we progress, then we start to get into new champagnes, new world techniques, artisanal producers, craftsmanship, smaller producers where champagne production is a labor of love and not just a labor. We've got two amazing houses that we've featured this month. Very, very different in their style, very, very different in the way that they innovate, but both exceptional in their own right. Laherte Frères and Carbon, two outstanding producers that are challenging the status quo in the way that they're utilising their techniques in the vineyard, and also the way that they are innovating with their bottle, their labelling, and their production techniques. These are wines of passion. And at every stage of the winemaking process, at every stage of the marketing process, it's considered, it's thought about. It's not just a label on a bottle and out the door. It is a labour of love. It is about craftsmanship. They're both exceptional champagnes. I love this rosé. If I didn't say that before, I love this rosé. This beautiful basket of red fruit characters, plus the depth of the wine and the crispness of no malolactic fermentation. Very sexy, great with food. This is another great month. Thank you to my team who chose the wines while I was in France. I hope that you enjoy them. Please make sure you watch the video all the way to the end where the boys get to have fun of me making mistakes throughout the video. I am only human. We don't edit these videos. We're all the way through. It is straight from the mind, straight from the heart, and straight to you. I hope you enjoyed this month's champagnes. I know that I certainly did. To all our new club members, welcome. I hope to see everybody at an event very soon.
Yes.
Are you reading my mind? Yeah, because we've got half chub, half club this month.
Half chub.
Gone are the days where we're drinking mass-produced champagne. And don't get me wrong, all champagnes have their place.
We'll just start again.
Okay. To produce something of significant detail, significant quality, and significant